Plan of subdivision. Let's understand what plan of subdivision includes. Okay, plan of subdivision, let's look at what it actually is. A plan of subdivision allows an applicant to divide land into 2 or more new parcels of land that can be disposed of separately. Basically chopping the land up in different smaller pieces that can be sold separately. But every time we do that, new things get triggered. Easements, there are services to the side, and all the separate meters, separate water connection, all these things get triggered. And what the land surveyor does is that creates a plan for the subdivision so that each block, although you've chopped a bigger block, each block is serviced with all these things. And for that we've got rules, regulation, and different sections that cover that act. All new plans of subdivisions lodged with land are lodged with Land Victoria are under section 22 of the Subdivision Act. As part of the subdivision process, a plan may create restrictions, owner corporations, and any easements, including implied easements, necessary to make a development functional. As I was saying earlier, that it could create all these it could trigger all these things that are necessary for each block to be independent in its own right. A plan of subdivision may also remove or vary restrictions and easements created in an earlier plan of subdivision with a planning permit under section 23 of the Subdivision Act. So that's your plan of subdivision. So what happens is the first step is to get a preliminary plan of subdivision, especially when you haven't started building. A land surveyor can lodge that for you, and once it is lodged, the council has 60 days to assess the application for the planning permit approval. This time will not include the advertising of your proposal to the adjoining property. Once council has received consent to issuing of a permit from the servicing authorities, which is water, sewer, gas, telephone, drainage, a report is written and a decision made on whether the permit will be granted. That's the preliminary plan of subdivision that's used in planning permit. The planning permit then outlines specific conditions that must be met. These can include service authorities. For example, in Victoria we've got Yarra Valley Water and Southeast Water, for example, such as construction of vehicle crossings, drainage works, contribution towards open space where applicable. And the planning permit may also request a subdivision or amended plan. This is used in this preliminary plan of subdivision is also used in your disclosure statement or your section 32 in Victoria. The second thing that you've got to do is lodge that plan of subdivision for certification with council. So what council is, that council looks at it and say, yes, we are okay with it, as long as the water and the sewer authority is okay with it. Usually they are the same. So for example, Southeast Water, that's the authority for that. They will issue a notice of agreement and they'll say, yes, we are happy with your proposed plan. Show us the infrastructure in the ground. You got to pay the fees for it, and then you get your Plumbing Industry Commission number in Victoria, and the plumbing, the PIC Victoria administers the license and registering system for plumbers, and promote and enforce plumbing standard across Victoria. That's what Plumbing Industry Commission in Victoria does. So once you've lodged it with council certification, that's what happened. The surveyor lodges and registers the plan, and at the base stage, it happens at the base stage. What we do is in the construction company is that the moment we are at the base stage, all the water fittings and everything has actually gone in. We get the surveyor in, and then we lodge the plan of subdivision, because the time it takes for the titles to come back, by the time we are ready, the titles are already there. So subdivision actually takes place when you actually build. Once everything is built and every property is connected separately with different services, the subdivision takes place automatically. but later on I'll show you how to obtain titles without actually developing the land completely. So final survey, you've got this is the final step in the subdivision process and is issued once all planning permit and referral authority requirements have been met. The title office will give you a new certificate of title once you have statement of compliance. This confirms that the building was set out and constructed in accordance with the proposed plan of subdivision approved earlier by the planning authority as part of the planning permit application. Final survey then becomes the sealed plan or the certified plan, which is then incorporated in the registered plan of titles. The building format plans works the same way. We've discussed this before. So basically it's used for apartments. The proposed, it should have details like the total area of the lot. It should identify any parts of the lot proposed to be outside the building, the floor level in the building in which the lot is proposed to be located. Basically all little details. In Queensland you've got something called Seal Smart or Brisbane City Council, and Seal Smart is a process aimed at improving plan sealing times through enabling self-certification of applications by accredited consultants. Under Seal Smart, accredited consultant liaises with council engineers to determine suitable applications and agree certification requirements for each condition. The accredited consultant then engages relevant professionals to certify that conditions have been complied with, providing evidence as required. If you do want to find out what it is, you just find out by clicking on this link here, which is this website here, and it talks about all different kinds of plan sealing and Seal Smart. So if you're from Queensland, you should go through this, especially if you're getting in the development. In Victoria we've got a similar system. It's called SPEAR, and if you want to find out more about SPEAR, you find out more about SPEAR by going to their website. So they talk about subdivision and planning, and that's very similar to Seal Smart in Victoria. If you want to find out about SPEAR application lifecycle, whoops, I don't have that here, but I've got it here. That's the SPEAR application lifecycle. If you want to have a read through it, and you can go through this in your own time. I do not want to explain you the same diagram that you've got here. See, the whole purpose of this, the way this course is designed, is that you don't really need to come in and know everything, but it's a good idea to go through it once, and then you've got access to the course for the life of the course. And anytime as you start your development, you come back to the relevant video, watch it again so that you refresh what you need to do, and then you go out and do that. So plan sealing, moving on, performed by local authority, happens after the final survey, and payment receipts for sewer and water contributions if required. So unless you've got that, they won't seal your plan. The application for certification is a separate application which is usually submitted at the same time as the planning permit application. Your surveyor will prepare a set of plans which will be certified, and are the plans which get certified to which get submitted, and are the same plans which get submitted to the titles office. All referral authorities need to consent to the plan being certified. The plan of subdivision or certification is referred to the servicing authority, who check whether easements are required for their services, and all the planning permit conditions have to be first satisfied. Once servicing authorities have consented to the plan of subdivision and engineering plans have been approved, where and if required, the plan may be certified. A certified plan is for 5 years. If the plan is not registered at the titles office within that time, the plan expires. Statement of compliance. A statement of compliance is the document required to conclude The subdivision process, which allows registration of the subdivision at the titles office and the release of new titles at the titles office. So a statement of compliance is not issued until all conditions of the planning permit have been met. Conditions of planning permit may include construction of drainage and vehicle crossing and payment to all servicing authorities. For example, I'm just summarizing all this here. Council will only issue a statement of compliance when it has received a letter from each servicing authority and a final inspection of the site has been carried out by a council officer. When subdividing in an approved unit site, development site, a final inspection of the completed units and landscaping is carried out by council before a statement of compliance is issued.